You've built your shopping campaign, you've set it running, and crickets. What happens when your campaigns get absolutely no impressions? What can you do and how can you fix it? That's what we're talking about in today's video. First place we're going to look is kind of the obvious one. Have you set up your billing? If you haven't, you should have a big banner across the top of your Google Ads account anyway, warning you that you haven't set up your billing, but just make sure that everything in the billing section is set up and validated, because obviously if you have no billing set up, then your campaigns are not going to run. So that's the first place to look. Second place is, again, a bit of an obvious one, is have you actually set up your feed properly? Are your products active in Merchant Center? You may have set up your feed, but if products have become disapproved and they're not active, then they are not going to show in your Google Shopping campaigns. So jump into Merchant Center, make sure everything in there, all the products are green, everything is set up as it should be to make sure that your feed is active. Another possible option, have you actually linked your Merchant Center to your Google Ad account? Now, if you hadn't linked that, it would be very difficult to actually build your campaign, because obviously you wouldn't have the link there to have the products to build the campaign. But maybe something's happened in the interim. You never know. Pop in, look in tools and settings in your Google Ad account, make sure that your Merchant Center is linked. Make sure it's the right Merchant Center that's actually linked to your Google Ad account, to just make sure that that's all okay. So that's kind of the technical side of it, really. If all of that is okay and you're still not getting any impressions, or you're just getting very, very low impressions and you're just not getting any traction with your campaign, the first place I usually go is to the bids. So this obviously refers to a standard shopping campaign. I'll move on to smart shopping campaigns in a sec. This refers to a standard shopping campaign where you manually set your bid. If your bid is too low, then that very often can result in just not getting enough impressions. So what I would normally do with a shopping campaign, it's a bit difficult. It's not always, you can't really know where to start your bids until you start advertising and you see where the average CPCs end up. But if, say, you've put a bid in of, I don't know, 20p or something, and you're getting nothing, then what I would probably do is jump in there and stick it to 50p or £1 even, just to see if that's going to kickstart it. If you do jump it up a lot, obviously monitor it for the next couple of days, because you don't suddenly want things to start blowing up and not bringing in conversions. But that should do the job of, if bidding is the issue, that should do the job of just giving it a kickstart. Once you start getting impressions, then you can quickly adjust the bids back to a more sort of normal level, if you like, as things progress. Now, talking about manual bidding, obviously. If you are using automated bidding, or if you have set up a smart campaign and set yourself a target return on ad spend, if you have set that target too high, the machine will just kind of give up, really. If Google's machine doesn't think it can get you conversions at the ROAS target that you have set, then it basically won't bother. It won't try. So you've obviously got the option there to just go in and try reducing your target ROAS if it's a smart campaign, or if you're using target ROAS as an automated bid strategy in a standard campaign. Just try going in and reducing that return on ad spend target. Say if you've started off at, I don't know, 600, which is actually quite high. If you maybe drop it down to 500, give it a couple of days. If you're still not getting anything, maybe drop it down to 400 and you'll quickly see whether that is impacting the impressions that you're getting, and then you'll have a much better idea of what you're likely to get with that campaign. But check your target ROAS that you've set, if it's either a smart campaign or a manual or a automated bidding standard shopping, and bring it down a little bit if it looks as if it might be too high. A couple of other things that might be an option. Again, this is referring to standard shopping because negatives aren't a thing with smart shopping. If you have, when you're setting up your campaigns, which I do recommend anyway, you set up sort of global negative lists of common negatives that you're going to want to add. Just make sure you haven't inadvertently added some negatives that are actually blocking your products from showing. So worth having a quick rundown just to make sure there isn't anything there that's just basically stopping your products from showing because you've added the negative keyword. So just a quick thing to check. If you're using location targeting as well, I mean, obviously with e-commerce, we wouldn't normally advertise, because that's the whole point of e-commerce is you can advertise to the whole country. But if you are for some reason targeting locally, just make sure you haven't narrowed that targeting too much so that you're not targeting enough people and there just aren't enough people searching for the products to actually get any impressions. So just make sure your location targeting is set correctly. And finally as well, just make sure that you have actually got a budget set. I probably should have put this as one of the first ones, to be perfectly honest. But usually when I'm building a campaign, when I'm initially building the campaign, I always set the budget to a penny because I don't want it to start running before I'm ready. I want to make sure everything's set, that I've checked everything, and then I will go in and I will put the budget in to actually get it going. Make sure that you haven't just inadvertently set the budget to a penny or 10p instead of £10. And just, it kind of should be quite obvious really if that has the case, but you never know. For completeness, I'm just going to give all the ideas that I can think of here. So last but not least, it could be a feed optimization issue as well. So if the names of your products don't really relate to the types of keywords that people will search for, so if you sell handbags and your handbags, and you don't mention handbag or leather handbag in your product titles or descriptions, your optimized product titles or descriptions, but your handbag is called, I have this one called the Eleanor, and we have this one called the Madeline. They're not compatible, because if people are searching for a pink leather handbag and your pink leather handbag is called the Madeline, that's not going to match. So you need to make sure your feed is optimized for the actual keywords people are going to be entering into Google to find your products, not just take your default product name if the default product name isn't pink leather handbag. Okay, hope that makes sense. That's quite a big topic, obviously, feed optimization. And if you do want to learn more about that, then I would urge you to come along to onlineretailacademy.com. You can join for free and get access to my introduction to a Google Shopping course. And if you like what you find in there, then you can upgrade to get full access to the Google Shopping course, the full Google Shopping course, which includes a whole module on feed optimization as well. So I hope you found this helpful. If you are still struggling getting any impressions on your shopping campaign, or if you have any tales to tell about why your shopping campaigns are not working, then please post in the comments and I will love to hear from you. Until next time, take care.